Our kaupapa sort of came out of quite a few conversations that Matt and I have had together around our history in teaching te reo. So I remember the days of School C, where we used to have people coming and sitting with us and assessing our kōrero, talking about a few pictures. Vividly remember the introduction of NCEA, and then the alignment process that we've recently gone through has caused quite a lot of changes, quite a lot of confusions about how we assess. So at the beginning of this year, I re-entered the classroom with huge enthusiasm about creating this amazing teaching and learning program, which had naturally occurring assessment evidence coming out of it to achieve these amazing grades. And so here today, I'm really just wanting to initiate a conversation about the things that we've learnt, the things that we're still learning around assessment for NCEA. So it is assessment for NCEA.
As cluster coordinators of Waitaha, we've been really lucky to have contact with Judith Hunt, the National Moderator for Te Reo Māori, and we've been able to seek clarification on some of the issues that we're facing, that everyone's facing with assessment for Te Reo Māori. So we want to share those experiences with you in the conversation that we're about to have as a rōpū. So just to come back to just the context of this kupu assessment, for Te Reo Māori there are two types of assessment that we have at the moment, and this is on TKI. There's the set tasks, so there's a task that you give your students that is done in class, there's one date, they do it on that date or they submit it by that certain date, and then that is done, so they do set tasks. Or there's portfolio, and that's a collection of evidence across a period of time. And for this workshop we're going to be focusing on the portfolio as the basis for our discussion.
And if you're unsure, in TKI there's task exemplar A and B. A is the set task and B is the portfolio, if you're wondering what the difference is. So for example, if you're looking at waihanga tuhinga for level 1, you've got an A exemplar and a B. A is your set task, B is your portfolio assessment. And they're really quite different, and how you manage them are quite different. So we chose to use the rubber band ball as our metaphor for portfolio because we liked how... Has anyone ever made a rubber band ball before? I have with my children. For some reason they came home with like hundreds of rubber bands and we made it into this ginormous ball for some reason. So if you have a look at the side there, this is the beginning of a rubber band ball. This is how you start it, just with 2 or 3 rubber bands, and you fold them into themselves. Now that is representative of the beginning of a piece of tuhinga, for example, or a kōrero, where let's throw out a topic that someone does for level 1 waihanga tuhinga, a level 1 NCEA Te Reo Māori topic. Who's got a topic? We all do it, come on. What are you teaching at the moment in your level 1?
Kāinga.
Tōku kāinga, rawe. Okay, so tōku kāinga, those 3 rubber bands there might represent 3 sentence structures that the tauira can use to start to talk about tōku kāinga. So, you know, e pātatana tōku whare ki te kura. What's another structure? He pai ki ahau tōku ruma, pai ake ahau tōku ruma, ki te ruma o tōku taina no te mea, he mawhero, te tai. Okay? So that's just the beginning part. And then as the year progresses, so that might be happening at the beginning of the year, and as the year progresses, we add more rubber bands on, we start to develop that ball, so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more intricate. And then it keeps working throughout the year, and then this is what gets submitted to us in our submission date. Okay, so the beauty of portfolio, this for us really encompassed what the beauty of it is the fact that we don't have to in April know how to write a beautiful piece of writing, because the reality is they've still got 3 more terms of learning to do before they can actually do that. Okay, and so the portfolio should never be completed until it's actually completed at the end of the year. And it's really just kind of setting our scene for our conversations today that we're going to have, keeping in the back of our mind that we're wanting to encourage, and we've found with our own practice that portfolio is gathering is the best way of doing it. It's putting less pressure on the kids, and they're actually able to juggle 3 of these rubber band balls at once. So they might have one on the go that's about tōku kāinga that might be that big because they nearly finished it. But then they might have just started one about their rugby team and how they play rugby and who their favourite rugby players are. Okay, and that might only just have a few bands on it, but they can work on those continuously throughout the year. Right?
This is just a list of kupu that we're going to refer to throughout this hui. I realise that everyone probably knows what these are, but just because in some of our examples we just say things like waihanga or kōrero, and just so that we all know what we're talking about, even though we do. So PN, principals nominee, tikai, te kete purangi, kōrero, whakarongo, waihanga, tuhinga. So that can just be any assessment for levels 1, 2 or 3 for Te Reo Māori, and it's obviously the internal one because that's all there is. Evidence, when we talk about evidence, we're just talking about the work that the student submits that can be used to award credits for, or be given credits for. Internal assessment, and we don't really touch on external assessment, but we just thought we'd put that in. Kāhui. So the main chunk of this workshop is actually going to be a discussion within your groups, in groups of, what are your tables, or 5? Just how you are, so in your groups. In this little pack, there are 5 scenarios, so I just want to explain how te tikango ēnei kōrero. These scenarios are just randomly made up based on what happens in our classrooms across the mutu.
And to be honest, a lot of the people in there actually are us. A lot of the things that are happening in there or have happened, we've actually personally experienced.
So there's 5 scenarios, and if you can take one each, but maybe we'll probably in the bigger groups just work in pairs on a scenario. So that's what they are, 5 scenarios. Then there's this sheet. And I just want to quickly explain the other metaphor. We've got 3 metaphors for this workshop. The first one was that rubber band. The second one is, which I'll explain a bit later, about te kākono, te whakatipu i te kākono. The third one is this sheet, and this is sort of the main thing of our workshop. So just at the top, we've got our scenarios down the side, and then we've got two metaphors that we've taken from Wakaama. He hoi haepapa, he hoi kõnukenuke. Now, what you're about to do is you're going to take a scenario, have a read through, and we want you to pick out practices that enhance good assessment practice.
The hoi haepapa.
So that's the hoi haepapa. So a hoi haepapa is a hoi that is completely perfect. It's straight. There's no kinks. There's no bumps. It's a perfect hoi. And so for the purpose of rowing a waka, that hoi will get you to the place that you want to go. He hoi kõnukenuke is a hoi that is sort of out of shape. It's bent. It's got some kinks. If you were to use it to row a waka, you will go ka kotiti haere, haere ki wiwi, haere ki wawa. So we just wanted to use those metaphors, that metaphor, to essentially distinguish between practices that enhance good assessment practice, so things that are good for portfolio, to making a portfolio of evidence, and the things that aren't so good, they're less than ideal, things that might hinder good assessment practice for portfolio. So what we're going to do, groups of 5. Obviously this is going to be different because you're not in groups of 5, but in your pair or by yourself, take one of these scenarios. First part is reading it individually. He mahi takitahi. As you're reading on your sheet, either the green one or the one that's in that other handout you've got, just write your scenario. So if you've got scenario 1, you'll put your answers in scenario 1, that first column, scenario 2, etc., etc. And we just want you to pick out the practices that enhance. So he hoi haepapa, put them in that column, or the practices that hinder good assessment practice. I'm using the word practice a bit too much, but yeah, so that's
you've probably got about 10 minutes at max to do this. So it's an individual thing. Everyone should have a scenario. So put your hand high and wide, wave it around if you do not have a scenario in your hand.